We're going to start with the opening keynote, and it will be my pleasure and my honor to bring up the Honorable Arielle Kayabaga. The Honorable Arielle Kayabaga was one of the 29 young Canadians selected to represent the nation's youth at COP16. She entered local government through a mentorship program at London City Hall and later successfully ran for City Council, and she won. And you will know why when she gets on stage, all right? Why she won. An active public speaker, she has worked with the London Black History Committee and Regional HIV/AIDS Connection. Arielle serves on various local boards, including the Urban League of London and the Canadian Youth Climate Coalition. Balancing her role as a single mother, city councillor, and community activist, Arielle is a progressive leader committed to representing marginalized voices and breaking barriers in her community. Arielle became a member of Parliament representing London West, and she now serves as the chair of the Liberal Caucus at the House of Commons in Canada. In 2024, this particular year, Arielle organized the largest gathering of the Black people that I've seen ever since I came into Canada, and that's just the truth. We were all there. And it was a sight to behold. It was really gratifying to see such a huge gathering of business people and founders. And we're really pleased to have Arielle with us this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome with me Arielle Kayabaga.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for that kind welcome. I know it's morning, but let's add some energy. I just had a little bit of coffee, so I'm gonna try and do it. It's Friday morning. It's an honor to join you today as we celebrate Africa Day. Last year on Africa Day, I was in Egypt, in Sharm. I can't say the word right, so I'm not gonna try. But I was at the African Development Bank Summit. And this year I join you and I join all of you, people who are working towards businesses, small businesses, and the trade and investments that we can both benefit from between Canada and Africa. And I'm here to celebrate our unity, our resilience, achievements of African people and the African continent. So I want to start by acknowledging first the land on which we are gathered on today. It's important that we do that. We're gathered on the traditional and unceded and unsurrendered territory of the Anishinaabe people, the Algonquin Nation, whom have lived here on this territory for millennia. We have to honor them and respect them and thank them for the stewardship that they've done on this land, as we also have come here and are making our lives move forward. I would also like to start by thanking Dr. Olutoyin Oyelade and the Casa Foundation, as well as the board of directors for Friends of Africa Coalition and their team for putting together this fantastic event. And I also want to acknowledge my colleague, Minister Valdez, who will, I guess, joining you in the afternoon, for her ongoing and continued support for our communities. I know that today's agenda holds a lot of promises for what is guaranteed to be a spectacular discussion on the pertinence of the economic issues facing the African diasporas here in Canada. So today we stand at crossroads in our history, a moment that bridges the past, the present, and the future as we commemorate the establishment of the Organization of African Unity on May 25th, 1963. The Organization of the African Unity, which has now since evolved into the African Union, was founded on the noble vision to foster unity, collaboration, and the decolonization of Africa. It marked a pivotal moment in Africa's journey towards self-determination and empowerment. And that is what brings us here today. Africa Day serves as a poignant reminder of the hurdles Africa has overcome, the struggles for independence, the fight against oppression, and the tireless efforts to build a better future. But it's also a celebration of the African heritage and the achievements, from the vibrant rhythms of African music to the groundbreaking discoveries in science, technology, and Africa's contribution resonate around the world and across our country here in Canada. So allow me to share a little personal chapter of my journey. As the first African woman elected to London City Council, I rolled up my sleeve and pushed for change. I was able to pass a motion to get Black History Month recognized in the City of London for the first time in 2020. But that's not all. In my role as the chair of the Corporate Service Committee, I made sure that London's municipal budget had an equality lens that considered the needs of our diverse communities. Why, you ask? Because it had to be more than just numbers. It wasn't about ticking off the box. It was about weaving compassion into every dollar allocation and to make sure that our communities are appropriately represented in the work that we do at City Hall. And this meant asking, how does every line item affect the most vulnerable people in our community? And how can we bridge the gaps and create opportunities? So let's fast forward to today. And I believe that in the same values have shaped my efforts then and lead me now to directly connect to our theme in investing in people of African descent, particularly with an entrepreneurial perspective. This theme, I think, is both timely and crucial as we consider opportunities for the African continent and its diaspora. Africa is not just a continent of promise. I think it's a continent of action. By fostering a sense of unity and solidarity among its diverse peoples, Africa continues to harness its collective strength to address common challenges and seize shared opportunities for development and prosperity. Africa has some of the most diverse, vibrant economies in the world. 5 of the world's top 10 fastest growing economies are African. The African Continental Free Trade Area are one of the flagships project of the Agenda 2063. And will present a historic opportunity to create the world's 5th largest economy in the potential for a combined GDP of more than $4.6 trillion. Think about that. Africa's growth rates have outpaced every other region in the world, defying expectation and igniting a beacon of hope for prosperity and progress. And the data speaks for itself. Africa's economy trajectory is one of resilience, with projections indicating sustained growth for years to come. But this is merely about statistics. It's figures. It's about people, about the millions of individuals across Africa and here in Canada who are striving for a better and more prosperous future. The rise of Africa's middle class, the expansion of its working age population, and the emergence of the new consumer markets are not just economic trends, but they are testaments of the continent's wavering determination to thrive. The same is true here in Canada as well, in our diasporas. Yet amidst these promising figures, we must acknowledge the challenges faced by people of African descent here in Canada. They grapple with rebuilding their lives, establishing businesses, and navigating structural barriers. Entrepreneurs from Afro-descendant communities lack robust support systems and access to critical information needed to embark on their entrepreneurial journeys. For far too long, people of African descent in Canada have been overlooked as viable partners in many sectors such as business, trade, and more. This requires Canada to rethink its approach, to cast aside outdated perceptions, and to embrace the boundless potential that lies not just on the African continent, but here in Canada as well. So as we stand on the cusp of this new era, Canada has a choice to make. We can either embrace this transformative moment or risk being left behind. The world is already taking notice of the major economies that are forging ahead with comprehensive trade and foreign policy partnership, and recognizing the immense opportunities that the African continent presents. Canada has, however, cultivated relationships and has a presence in Africa for more than 5 decades through its work in the African countries and with regional and international bodies. However, we have to recognize that a fragmented approach to our engagement is insufficient. Instead, we have to capitalize on the opportunity to establish a renewed relationship, one that is rooted in mutual interests, reciprocity, and respect. This involves moving beyond historical colonial legacies and embracing a partnership founded on equality and shared prosperity. For Canada, this is a time to act now. This includes investing in the African diaspora here within our own borders. I'm proud to say that thanks to the work and continued advocacy from many people that I see in this room, that we've had many conversations, including Dr. Olatuin, that we have continued to work towards this relationship between Canada and Africa. Canada's perception towards investing in Africa and in diaspora is actually changing for the better. The proof is we're having the conversation. Recently, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau met with Moussa Faki Mahamat, who's the chairperson of the African Union Commission, signaling Canada's renewed commitment to engaging with the African continent. Canada also announced the support for the African Union's participation in the G20 last year on Africa Day. Additionally, my colleague Minister Ng launched public consultations on the Canada-Africa Economic Strategy, resulting in a Memorandum of Understanding and Canada's establishment of a dedicated mission and a permanent observer to the African Union, who's actually started his job already and is doing a great job. This continues to enhance our relationship and shared priorities with Africa. So Canada, with its proud tradition and multiculturalism and inclusivity, stands poised to lead the way in harnessing the entrepreneurial spirit of people of African descent. By fostering an environment that encourages innovation, that promotes diversity, and embraces the collaboration, Canada can unleash a wave of economic growth and prosperity that benefits all of us. Imagine a Canada where a young entrepreneur, regardless of their background, has access to mentorship, to funding, to support, and to turn their ideas into reality. A Canada where business owned and operated by people of African descent flourish, creating jobs, driving innovation, and fueling the economic growth in our communities across the country. Canada's direct investment in Africa reached $15.7 billion in 2022, while African foreign direct investment stock in Canada stood at $2 billion. Trade between our nations has reached $15.1 billion, with countries like Nigeria, Morocco, and Algeria emerging as key partners. All of this underscores our commitment to advancing trade and investment on the continent. Additionally, by connecting BIPOC businesses in the African diaspora with value-creating partners, we continue to facilitate their entry into the African business market, and we're able to unlock new opportunities for growth and prosperity. But beyond the economics, our engagement with the African diaspora must be rooted in our shared values and our people-to-people connections, and we have to continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with the African partners, supporting their efforts to build a prosperous, inclusive society for all. I believe that Canada's growing commitment to strengthening its economic ties with Africa is a testament to the growing importance of this dynamic continent on the global stage. With Africa being the world's youngest and fastest growing continent, there's a significant potential for collaborations and mutual benefit between Canada and African Canadian entrepreneurs. The robust and growing population of African immigrants in Canada signifies our strong human capital connection that can bolster this collaboration, driving innovation, entrepreneurship, and economic growth on both sides of the Atlantic. One of our shared values is our people-to-people connections. As you know, there's now 1.5 million people of African and Caribbean descent living in Canada. Countries like Guinea, Ghana, Nigeria, Rwanda, Cameroon are among the top 10 African countries representing the highest growth rates among our international students with valid study permits in Canada. These are students who are going to be our employees, our employers, and they're going to foster the growth of our economy, and they make up the future of our workforce. This is Canada's bright and promising future, one built on shared prosperity, mutual respect, and boundless opportunities for Africa, for Canada, and for the rest of the world. So this is why I'm here today. As I look around this room, I'm blown away by how many people are here representing the diversity found within this beautiful continent. As you mentioned, some of the high commissions that are in this room, it's a testament to this diversity in our continent. beyond, we have to lean into the conversation around investing in people of African descent here in Canada. And today's event kind of serves as a platform for our ideas, our collaboration and learning. And as we gather and continue to put on these kinds of events, it allows us to continue to share our personal journeys and our personal lived experiences, observations, and expertise, whether from academia, policymaking, or entrepreneurial backgrounds, to shed light on the opportunities and challenges that we face as Canadian of African diaspora. So today's event actually provides that opportunity, an opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to unlocking our fullest potential of every member of this community. It's an opportunity to invest in the dreams and aspirations for our youth, to provide them with the resources, the support, the opportunities they need to succeed in this ever-changing world. So think about this. When my mom came from Burundi to Canada, she never would have imagined that I would have become a city councillor, let alone a member of parliament. And as your keynote speaker here this morning, she didn't picture me contributing and serving in my community because her vision only was limited to survival. She wanted a safe country for us to live in, and she bargained for, she got way more than what she bargained for. This was never supposed to be my story, but I'm here today. And as you know, what's cool about my story is that I look in this room and I know that it's the story of many people in this room. That's what continues to show the beauty, the resilience, and the strength of our people. And if we all can do that, we can leave our countries, come in this country, and have conversations about how we can grow this economy, how much more can we do? I've been watching as the world continues to change, as young people come up and take their places in this world. We were just talking about the new president of Senegal, how young he is, the youngest president on the continent right now. And there's an ever-growing need to have more young people take up their space and talk about, you know, you said the youth. Please have a platform for the youth to talk, because they have a lot of really good ideas on how they want to change the world. I'm a member of parliament here in Canada, and I'm very proud to be Canadian. My parents brought me here to find shelter. And I get to actually show up in parliament and speak not just for people in London West, but for many people who can find their story in mine. It's an honor, it's a pleasure. And it is for spaces like this that we will continue to see this growth happen, not just for you know, our members in our communities, but for all of the African diasporas and the continent as well. I get to talk about Africa. I was just in the House of Commons last week, shouting out Africa Day. And I saw the messages that were coming in after I posted the video online. And so many people from across the world were just messaging me and saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, because we need to talk about the good things that Africa has to provide. And more than ever now, we need to continue to advocate for this strategy to come out. It doesn't have a name right now, but with your support, with your continued conversations and advocacy, we're talking about it. A few years ago, I was elected in 2021. I'd never heard anybody talk about Africa in the House of Commons. Maybe I wasn't paying that much attention, but we're talking about it now. I've read more than 5 articles in 1 year alone about Canada and Africa. And I'm thinking, it's time. It's time we make it happen. And we're only making it happen because we're here. And we're living through the time that we were meant to live through. So thank you so much for having me this morning. Share my story, talk about the work that we're doing in government, but it is only done with your support. We as elected officials cannot do anything that you don't ask us to do. So don't shy away in pushing our buttons, and make sure that this Canada-Africa strategy moves forward, and that we see the continued growth in our economies between Africa and Canada, and see our businesses grow and continue to thrive. So I wish you all to have a really great conference and great conversations, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much.